certain things that I think I need to do a better job of things that everyone already knows I'm going to complete, um, and be very successful doing it for obvious reasons. So I have explored most of those options today and continued down the road I have been going on, which is that yes, I think I can sell most people in the country a book if I get 500 words to show them. This, of course, will vary depending on the individual. But one thing I really wanted to do was capture every one of my readers in one of those ideal states, which is basically um, either a character they can identify with from one of the three pieces of media I have deconstructed quite a lot: movies, TV shows, and books, or potentially like a real life person. So I think a lot of people think about like, you're basically like, okay, if I had to deconstruct like today's American, it's like, are you for Trump or against Trump? It has become very hard to have an opinion about Trump one way or another based on the very aggressive things he has done, such as announce drones over Russia drones over Poland, which is an area with lots of history when you consider its involvement in World War II, I believe World War I, and most wars involving Eastern Europe because of its central location. It's a lot allied. It's the fact that it is an official ally of NATO from the start. So as far as rules of engagement, one would obviously need to connect more dots at what exactly those drones were doing. But I would say that they were probably doing some kind of reconnaissance as to something they plan to do in the future. I take some of the things that the United States has done and I say, what have they done recently? Well, the USA has renamed the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Probably for obvious reasons. Because most of what Trump has been doing very lately, and actually most of his career, I can think it would be fair to say, he has been doing for obvious reasons. He has done obvious moves. He is very funny, which makes him very, I'd say he's a good salesperson. So I have many things I disagree with what Trump has done, but I generally agree with the way, um, with his policy on telling the truth. I think he is very clear about what he plans to do. So, do I agree with war or any kind of aggression over um, a potential ally? I don't know without more information about what that ally stands to gain from the United States. So if I looked at Ukraine, I really enjoy, um, uh, I think I am a Ukraine ally. So if anything was to happen to anybody, especially a civilian, it would make me mad. if something bad were to happen to them. Which is why I think we see things like um, Ukrainian civilians being killed. On U.S. soil from news sources within the past week. So the news cycle certainly wants me to hate what Trump is doing at most of the things that are most available for me to watch. So I'm led to believe that the U.S. media is anti-Trump when it comes to sources that I see the most, which I'd say is probably telling if you look at it several ways. But I would say the most important reason is, I guess, like, I've kind of reestablished in the hospital what my policy is on how I think about things that people tell me in situations like this. I look for things, above all, truth. I need moderation of that truth, obviously, because there are a lot of variables in play. Do I think that our current system has been doing this in what I would say is something I could not do better? I have not found that to be the case. I think if I was to make decisions about this, I would do some of things differently than what Trump is doing. So I am against Trump in that sense. Mostly because of the Ukraine thing. So as far as the things I can do about it, I did write the White House a letter announcing of my intention to do the things that I say, which is continue my business, which is DiceBreaker Books, which basically I am very clear about what I am going to do with that if you understand me. So right now, I've basically let it sit, collecting in value, saying things that may or may not be true, in the same way that Trump is doing the same thing. So we argue, I think the argument is who has more power, based off of things that they announce. And I would argue in many ways, my platform can give me even greater power than the President of the United States in many ways. Which was mostly why I tried going to Washington, D.C., to have a civilized discussion with people that have been very much interested in the things that I've been doing, such as various governmental associations such as the FBI, the CIA, the Secret Service, and the police. Which is why I have been working with them very closely to ensure that most of the things that they know, I already know. Because of the things that I have gathered in my laptop, which is a very hackable thing if someone has the resources like the internet or local technologies or other kinds of surveillance. So I do take that very seriously when it comes to the things that I say in proximity to the things that I spend a lot of time on, which are my phones, my tablet, and my laptop. And I would say overall, it seems pretty secure because of the secret things that I have been doing that I don't tell a lot of people about for obvious reasons. Because it might give me less power than most of these services that the United States currently uses. Of which I would say you might just need one service to do one of those things. So I've looked at most of these organizations and said, I think I understand why Doge exists, which is basically to cull most of those services until we have determined that only one is necessary, which I think is a fantastic idea if you look at it in terms of what they do. I don't know. What does the FBI actually do now? In today's time, when most of white collar jobs, I would say, are basically um, very close to done if you do not use tools very specifically that have to do with AI specifically. What AI actually does to most defense organizations who have contracted with mostly OpenAI to join with the Pentagon and work on cybersecurity. So as I understand it, cybersecurity on the Pentagon is very invested in OpenAI. Sam Altman has been very concerned about releasing new versions of OpenAI, which I consider to be smart because I think most AI is very reliant on the things that I write in my computer. So I look at my computer as almost a soapbox with which I can get on and basically tell a lot of truthful things and get a lot of things to happen if I was to, say, do the things that I say. So I could do a lot of things, like get a lot of people to see things my way and eventually do something I tell them to do. But I have no idea what to do without truth, moderation, and two others. I would say this is actually kind of something that I did make a fun arts and crafts project with but I don't have the calendar. Okay. Yeah, those don't really do much for me. Um, what was it? Two other dimensions. Truth and moderation. Uh, yeah, I think I have a lot more power than most people, including the President of the United States, when it comes to taking something and calling it yours. Because when you do things like this, you do need to show your sources. So if in fact most of these sources is in fact my laptop, then I think a lot of people have some right sizing to be done when it comes to the valuation of DiceBreaker Books, which is a company that basically takes everything that I've done, lumps it into a security, almost an inherent cybersecurity based off of my own personality as a creator and an innovator. And I have done, I think, the correct moves transactionally to ensure that no matter what, if anyone puts $1 in my company, I might be the most valuable company in the entire world because of what its future value is, which is inherently limitless based off of the things that I have done when it comes to creating original work. Which, if you think of what AI and what it actually does, to give you a little kind of an idea of what AI is really doing, it's no more than just taking like the words that you think are going to happen. It's like an autocomplete engine for words. So consider like that most people know and expect the next word in a sequence. And depending on the context, you could write very easy programs that can uh, optimize that. But AI is not optimized by design. It is designed to be kind of like a it will not do the 100% option. It will throw in what are called stochastic variables or stochastic seeds, which are basically random numbers. And it says, yes, we know that you wanted the best word, but we will give you the word that is maybe 90% the best, or the word that's the best 90% of the time. And then you're left with what are like approximations of what a human can do. But humans don't really conceive of randomness that way. So it doesn't, I think its true purpose is really to pretend that there are more jobs than actually exist that can be done differently if given new leadership. So I think about AI doing that. The other thing that it does is it does get like kind of like a consensus opinion through artificial means of potential other sources of good information, because like I said, it is context specific as to which words should come next. It depends on your audience and what it is that they want to see. I think most people are looking for unique combinations of words, which if you were to say, give me, let's say a machine that has this, that can be local, potentially not on the internet right now, and protected in some way, I would consider my laptop at close to top of the list, if not the very top of the list, when it comes to things that I would look at. When it comes to some of the decisions related to current events that I've somewhat organized here. So I'm very excited about the things I can do. It's just a matter of when I do them, and what basically I would say gets me more present value. So the question I want to figure out is, what actions do I need to take that increase my present value as soon as possible? Because I think I can take a fraction of what I make in the future and start investing that in myself now and valuing my company. That will require work that I don't really want to do. But I think it needs to be done. So I can do, I basically would need to sell something. I could do the game. But instead of a random number generator, which everyone knows how to do, you could do it structured in sort of the way I have done, which is through word association, which is how AI works at its most basic level. So I could create a game that gamifies the AI replication process perfectly, doing the exact same things as a random number generator, except this would be very keyed into, I would say, a very specific calculator that I made, that I spent 3 years working on. And I have transacted that, I think, correctly to have acknowledged the place I was working, what the other things I was doing, and then the other people I were with. And basically almost transacted it as a way to say, pay me a fair wage, and I will do most of the things that I did while I was employed at the very various organizations I have been working for, which are mostly private companies who don't really need to worry about how their company gets valuated. Other than, I would say, would be to ensure compliance with their auditors. But they most, I think, want to get information based off of how can they do the same thing they're doing for cheaper. So it becomes more of a question as to like what I should be doing. I think I need to work on my company to begin bucketing what I need to bucket in terms of things I can sell. Because I can create a physical good, but I guess it comes down to some research. I could sell videos on YouTube. I could do the games and have them be coded in VBA and not have to spend too much more time learning about code. I could finish what I think I need to know, which is basically Python code. I think that is the reason that coding has been behind a little in this AI arms race. I think because I have not spent much time doing Python in my laptop. So I think if you were to say, secure Brendan's assets first, definitely do so. However, I think at this point, it would not surprise me to get, a similar phone call saying someone owes me $3.5 million and potentially a car. It's almost like everyone who seemed to can help me with this problem would be more interested in bettering themselves. So I think most people share this distinction. But I like the format I've been coming up with, which is basically like a fully acted audiobook with video and stills in a YouTube video format. I don't think hosting video is good. I think you use a platform like YouTube, which does all that for you for free, to be a video host. I could then have it be somewhat of a meta thing where you have potentially DiceBreaker Books as a fake company. In the story I'm about to write, and use myself as almost a character in the book, as a successful businessman, and then pretend that the things I'm happening in the book are happening in real life. Therefore, I can almost make a thing that does whatever I want if done correctly, if I have the right viewership. I could almost invent a country and have it all to myself and have anyone who wants to join my country simply visit my website. Nothing else. Perhaps read some of the information I have posted on that website. So that is something I could try, because people seem to still want to watch video very much. So I think I am not wrong in that I could do this very well with resources that I already have. I have about 100,000 images that are all proprietary to me that I created in what I would say is my favorite of all of the art generators that I've seen out there in terms of aesthetics and its honesty. And that I can basically ask it what I need and not worry about something that is either unprofessional or potentially with some unethical concerns. I have done this completely above board, and I have not shared one image with the public of the art that I have been doing. So I have been very careful in ensuring that my commercial assets remain as untouched as possible. And I think I have definitely been shut out of many things that other people are not when I post those things on my website, because of the way that people are using images and almost piggybacking off of what the original AI author did, which is basically a black box. No one knows the kind of images that are used. They use closed training information on, I think, like accepted sources. There are about like 24 of those. There's like Gutenberg Press books, things like that. There's some like Gemini releases. I'm sure Claude's got some releases now of basically like a corpus, and it's fairly okay. And most of it does seem to be based off of probably a corpus of probably shit you can get on Google's art pages, which have basically like full resolution pictures of most uh, important artwork. I think that's one thing that some of these video generators can be doing. I can think of a few others that are less savory that would potentially be very embarrassing for someone if they were doing the wrong thing. So I think I have a lot of potential ways to extort other people very aggressively into giving me things that I want based off of things that I can perceive about what kind of things people have been doing rather than being, I would say, above board and ethical in the things that they do. So I can almost come up with like a like a personal algorithm that can detect that kind of misgivings, those kinds of misgivings that people have had, and those kinds of bad deeds, and almost tally it up, like a kind of like a game where you can like have a public profile and attach that to the outcome of visiting my website, and have it be almost like a you must read these words. It is imperative that you read these words. Hence the 500 word sales pitch that I basically am going to offer to anyone in America. Just read 500 words, which is basically 2 pages um, of a normal novel size. Pretty much 2 pages of books. And I can probably convince you to buy a book. I could go with a digital only and not pay a single penny. I think I need to pay a little bit to get an ISBN number, and some publishing things like probably the rights to use the technology, but who knows? There's a lot. There certainly is a lot of them already. So I think more of a guerrilla marketing, potentially on TikTok, might be the way to go. I could start doing that on the TikTok page that I have, and go live at the same time I record my own voice, and have basically another person on TikTok that I have been marketing with and engaging with. Many of them Ukrainian citizens, into doing things that they would prefer rather than things that Donald Trump would prefer, which is basically, as I understand it, do some harm to the Ukrainian people. I could use that as a kind of platform to extort from the president demands that I have. So potentially another letter to the White House. I could even do a phone conversation. Things seem to be okay because no one has really gotten back to me. I have gotten some responses on the jobs that I have been applying to that I know I am capable of doing, which is good. So I could get caught up on that. Yeah, I think I am going to go to the to the hotel and see what kind of people I can engage with on this social media basis to start working on what I would say is my present value rather than my future value, and accelerate the things that I am doing in a way that I deem more acceptable. Because as it stands right now, the way I see it, most of the things that other people are telling me are unacceptable in many ways.